like he grabbed 10 shards of glass and rubbed it in my eye.
Whoa.
That happened 4 times per eye. That was pretty
Pause. Oh God, I can't imagine like getting a procedure by choice and being in that much pain. Like, I would avoid eye pain at all costs. Oh my God, 4 syringes in the eye is diabolical. Okay. People are out here going blind for the sake of their own vanity. And as somebody who went blind for the sake of bad genetics, granted upon me from my loving parents, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine having a cosmetic procedure that leaves me blind. Because, on this channel, I am all about showing that you can live a fulfilling, happy, successful life and be the best version of yourself possible and have a disability. But I also acknowledge that life is also harder with a disability because of ableism and discrimination and inaccessibility, lack of representation, all of the things. I am also very honest that we are a loving, wonderful community who will welcome you in if you join us, but I also don't recommend you join us. Like, I don't think we should all be going out intentionally blinding ourselves because, we make the best of a bad situation, but it still isn't, like, recommended. In this video, I'm going to be reacting to 3 different people who all went blind due to different cosmetic elective procedures. 1, eye color changing. 2, filler. And 3, eye tattooing. Let's jump in to the first clip. This is a man who went blind after getting eye color changing surgery. We all know of people who use eye color changing contacts for Halloween. We see them in movies, cosplay. Some people just like to do it daily for some reason. But some people take it so far as to go for permanent eye color changing procedures, which can cost up to $12,000 in this economy. Yes, $12,000. And there is no FDA approved surgery currently. There's 3 different ways that people are going about this. I'm not even gonna pretend to know, okay? I'm not a scientist. I'll link some information down below in case you wanna explore. I'm also gonna link the videos I'm reacting to down below as well if you wanna watch them in full. But what I can tell you is there's 3 different procedures, 3 different techniques that doctors are using to permanently change the color of your eye. They are all risky. They all carry the risk of going blind, if not immediately, then later on down the line. And that is unfortunately what happened to this man when he pursued the surgery. So let's check it out. And as per usual in these reaction videos, just so I'm not like awkwardly staring at you guys while you're watching the clip I'm reacting to, I'm gonna open this laptop with nothing on it. It's not on. And my boyfriend is gonna be watching it visually behind the camera on his screen, and he's gonna fill in any gaps if we need some live AD up in here. So without further ado, let's hit play.
The following program contains images of an actual surgical procedure that may be graphic and disturbing.
No, thank you.
That these images may not be suitable for young children.
You've been warned.
Time for a doctor's throwback all the way to our very first season when we met Mark, who traveled abroad to change his brown eyes to blue. A dangerous procedure we actually warned him could leave him blind, if you remember.
I was previously on the Doctor Show in 2009.
Mark is here in our audience.
I just came off the plane from Panama. I just had my eye surgery done from brown to blue.
I've always worn color contacts, and I just always hated having brown eyes. Every time I looked at myself in the mirror, I just didn't like it. I wouldn't even check the mail, take out the trash without wearing color contacts.
I had the beautiful blue eyes. I was happy.
Were you told about risks of this surgery when you went down to Panama?
My best friend, she did the surgery and she had no problems, and when I saw her eyes, I was like, I need to get that done. Nothing was gonna get in my way.
Dr. Seal was beside me, screaming at me.
The risk for this particular procedure is entirely unacceptable. Cataracts, loss of their cornea, inflammation inside the eye, and a severe form of glaucoma that would result in irreversible blindness.
The lens is the same lens used in cataract surgeries for the past 20 years. It's just a colored version of it.
No, that's simply not true, young man. It's important to let your viewers understand that a 50% chance of eventually going blind is simply not worth it.
Pause. 50% chance of going blind. That's so wildly high. The reality is, all cosmetic procedures, like all procedures generally, have side effects, risks, complications, but 50% is crazy. I mean, just going under anesthesia will always carry the risk of quite literally death, right? Which is why doctors don't take doing surgery lightly. But to have a risk that is 50% and doctors are still doing this, to me, doesn't feel like moral or ethically sound. That's so sad. And it also makes me really sad that this gentleman had so much self-hatred over brown eyes that risk was worth it. I mean, he said, there's nothing that's going to stop me. It's easy to want to judge people who do these kinds of things, say, it's your fault. But truly, like, I have so much empathy because, as I said at the beginning, like, going blind is so difficult. And so many of us carry shame and guilt and feel like a burden to those around us, even when it is a genetic disease like mine, or even when it occurs because of a traumatic accident. I can't even imagine the emotions you would feel knowing that you went blind because of a choice that you made and knew that that was a risk and you did it anyway. And for vanity, like, there is nothing wrong with brown eyes. Brown eyes that work are so much better than blue eyes that don't. It just makes me so sad because I've had to go on such a journey of self-love and self-acceptance. Living in a body that doesn't work the way it's, quote, supposed to, and the way most people's does. Having eyes that don't look totally conventionally, quote, normal. You know, I have pretty significant nystagmus that causes my eyes to constantly shake. I do not make perfect eye contact with people. My eyes can dart around at times. I've had to learn to love and accept that this is the body I was given. This is the life that I was given, and I cannot change it. And so I went on a journey of truly, like, learning to love and accept myself as a whole. And I know that it's normal for all of us to have insecurities. I still have them. I still have insecurities. But it is so much better to go to therapy and learn to love yourself than it is to risk something as significant as 50% chance of going blind just to change something as frankly insignificant as the color of your eyes.
Imagine if, like, changing the color of your hair had a 50% chance of, like, making you lose all of your hair or something. Or,
right.
Like, you know?
No, truly, that's such a great comparison. I feel like most of us wouldn't be out here changing the color of our hair. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm already going into it, but let's keep watching.
I didn't believe him, and here we are, 2017, and I'm blind in my right eye. By 2012, the right eye would turn bloody red, and I just ignored the symptoms. The next few years, the vision went blurry, and it would go in and out. It's my fault. I should have seen a doctor, and I didn't. And I thought the vision would come back, and I am now blind in the right eye. I was naive and young. If I could go back to 2009 and tell myself and tell the world, I would say, do not do this surgery whatsoever. You will be blind 100%.
Yeah, Mark didn't listen to our warning about the risky procedure. His vision in his right eye will never return, but he did have a second chance to save the vision in his left eye.
This material's been in his eye doing silent damage for a very long time, slowly grinding away at the surfaces of the eye.
Say this is the point where they're gonna do surgery on the eye. So if you're squeamish about that, I'll put the time code that's gonna pop up right here. You can scrub to that point to skip past this part.
This is one of those moments where I feel like me and the blind folk in the comments section are winning out, that we don't actually have to watch this. But I'm sorry, him saying grinding away It sounds so incredibly painful. And the reality is, even if this doesn't carry the risk of blindness, things like the inflammation that he mentioned are side effects, cause severe pain. And I can tell you, as somebody who has lived with eye pain and chronic headaches for most of my life, it's not fun. My whole life, like, I would come home from school and have such severe eye fatigue from my eyes straining to see at school all day that I would have to lay with like an ice pack over my eyes, and I would describe it. And I'm like 8 years old, like, and I would describe it as somebody was inside my head trying to pop my eyeballs out from the inside. It was like this intense radiating pressure. And ever since I was young, I've lived with pretty much chronic tension headaches, and it's not fun. And I have many friends in the blind and low vision community who deal with like chronic dry eye, chronic eye inflammation, chronic pain. That, again, these are not risks worth it. If you truly hate your eye color that much, just keep wearing the colored contacts. It is so much less of a hassle to pop those suckers in once a day and take them out once a day than it is to relearn how to live your life, to lose the ability to drive, to have constant debilitating pain, light sensitivity. None of these things are worth it.
We'll treat his right eye first, which is the eye in which unfortunately he's already lost all his vision. And then we'll treat his left eye afterwards, hopefully to prevent him from losing vision in that eye as well. When we perform his surgery, we're going to be removing the colored material that's been laid into his eye, and we're going to cut it up into smaller fragments and remove it. So these are the 3D glasses that'll go with the screen that'll enable us to see everything in greater magnification. Mark, it's time to begin your procedure. Go ahead and bring your chin up for me. Keep your eyes wide open. You'll feel pressure and stuff from when I push on the eyelid.
Oh,
Look
stop.
straight ahead and don't look around, Mark. Let's go into our main entry. Good. Good. Look straight ahead, Mark. Don't look up, buddy. Don't squeeze. Okay. Best brown eyes I've seen in many, many, many years. Now we'll be ready to start treatment on the left eye, which is more paramount since this is the better functioning eye. Look straight ahead. You're 2 for 2, Mark. May you live to be 120 and see perfect out of this eye.
Okay. Even just hearing him describe the surgery made me a bit squeamish, because I've had so many eye procedures, surgeries, tests throughout my childhood when I was so young that I am like, don't go near my eyes. I hate getting eye exams. You would think exposure therapy, I would just be like, whatever now. No, it's the opposite. Instead, I'm like, no, thank you. Please don't go near my eyes. It's fine. They don't work. We don't need to check on them. Which I do because I'm at high risk for cataracts, but that's neither here nor there. Here's the reality. Going blind in one eye, well, it is life-changing in many ways, and I'm not going to say it isn't. Things like depth perception, you lose. You need 2 eyes to have depth perception. I've never had depth perception, so I can't really tell you what you're missing, but I hear depth perception's great for not tripping and whatnot. And things like having, obviously, a significant blind spot, literally, having people approach you on that side can be startling because you can't see them coming, things like that. But if you can maintain 20/20 in the other eye, and if they were able to save it to that level, then he can still live a pretty normal life as a sighted person. Would be able to drive a car, read, he'd be able to do most things, which is great. So I'm really hopeful that they were able to save that eye, but truly, like, this is a predicament he didn't have to be in and chose to, and it sounds like maybe in part just the young attitude of it won't be me, which so many of us have growing up, and a little bit of just ignorance, being told the information but maybe not really believing it, or looking at other sources that were telling him other things. Even though this is an older video from 2017 and he got the surgery in 2009, this is still very much happening today. I've seen multiple videos over the years of different people who have had botched eye color changing surgery, and I can just tell you that therapy is cheaper than a $12,000 surgery that might make you go blind. Colored contacts are cheaper. Keep with that. And now We will move on to the next one, which is somebody who went blind from filler. Yes, the oh so popular filler, like lip injection filler, can make you go blind if not done correctly. In particular, when it is being injected under the eyes to fill out hollow under eyes, which, side note, I've just heard of going wrong so many times cosmetically, like just aesthetically, that it doesn't sound like it's worth it, but it can make you go blind, getting the injections under the eyes. And it can also make you go blind getting a non-surgical nose job by using filler to smooth out your nose. That can make you go blind if the filler migrates. So, PSA, in case you did not know, definitely worth looking into other options. But let's watch this video and see what happened to this woman in particular.
When I look in the mirror, I don't even recognize myself.
Crystal Touch no longer sees herself the same way. From her left eye,
I could actually feel it dying.
she no longer sees.
I have no feeling of it blinking. My perception is different. I see nothing at all. Nothing. It's just dark.
On December 2nd, 2021, Crystal went to VIP plastic surgery on Sunridge Heights Parkway in Henderson.
What I was trying to get done was a non-surgical rhinoplasty, which is getting injected in my nose.
An injection of hyaluronic acid under the brand name Restylane. The goal, to improve the aesthetic contour of her nose.
My bridge will be built up, my tip will be lifted. Nothing was explained to me that the side effects of going blind.
Medical expert Dr. Philip Robb says fillers like Restylane, especially when performed in the nasal area, present serious risks that are not generally known by patients.
Pause. This is extremely frustrating. In the other case, he was being told by an ophthalmologist what his risk was. In this case, it sounds like she was uninformed, and they're saying generally people are not told. That should be illegal. You should have to be fully informed and sign a consent form that lists all of that. And like, there should be a nurse or a PA that sits with you and like actually talks through the risks. Not just like says like, oh yeah, it's just the basic risk, sign here. Because we're all guilty at times of like skimming and signing, right? But like there should be a serious conversation. And I think filler and Botox in particular have been so normalized in our society through social media. I mean, I live in Los Angeles, okay? We're in the mecca of filler and Botox here. It is so normalized in my industry, in this city, and just on social media in general. I am seeing a shocking increase in young girls, much younger than myself, getting filler and Botox. And I really don't think they understand the risks. Like, it's just been so normalized that people don't even think about all the things that can and do go wrong. And that's why videos like this are so important. Okay, play.
Running through the nose supply blood and oxygen to the eyes.
If you occlude it, which is what a filler can do, it's like a stroke. You're having a stroke to the eye.
Attorney Dan Carvalho is representing Crystal in her lawsuit against VIP Plastic Surgery, which is owned and operated by Dr. Christopher Corsandi. Crystal is suing Corsandi and registered nurse Diane Hamu, who, according to the lawsuit, performed the procedure on her own. On her Instagram page, Hamu advertises herself as a master aesthetic injector.
When she injected the tip of my nose, I felt it shoot straight up to my left eye. And she seen that something was wrong because I started tearing up and I started squinting. And I told her I couldn't see. And I felt a little pain. But as she kept injecting, she's like, oh, that's fine. And then as she kept injecting, the pain kept progressing. And then that's when I started crying. And I was like, I can't do it no more, it's hurting. And then she left me
The lawsuit says Nurse Hamu left to get Dr. Khorsandi, who should have been involved all along.
Pause.
What happened here?
This is how the nurse, like, surely if she's a master injector, she knows the risks that injections like this do carry. Immediately, when that woman said that she felt it go to her eye and was in pain and having these symptoms, she should have stopped and got the doctor immediately. That is wild that she continued. Oh my God, my heart hurts for this woman.
She continues to relearn basic functions.
My ophthalmologist told me that as the year progressed, that they have to watch it, I might get cross-eyed.
Her altered perception causes her to bump into walls at home.
I have to go to a center of blindness to learn how to drive again.
And she doesn't know if she'll ever be able to trust medical professionals again.
They took that trust from me, the respect from me that I have for doctors.
All in all, that sounds incredibly traumatic. And I mean, many of us with disabilities have some kind of medical trauma. I do not blame her for having medical trauma. That is just truly a situation that should have never happened. I'm glad that she is going to a center for the blind and getting supports. It's great that she will be able to learn to drive again. It sounds like a very similar situation in that she has no vision in one eye, but okay vision in the other. And therefore, yes, depth perception is gone. So that's where things like bumping her shoulder when she's going through a doorway, reaching for something and being slightly off and knocking it over. That's what happens when you don't have depth perception. But, you know, the good news is she has resources. She's learning how to drive again. It's so hard when you're in the depths of despair and shock and grief, which clearly she is very much still in, to feel like it will be okay again. But obviously, again, that's what this channel is all about, is showing people who are early on in a vision loss journey that you can rebuild your life and it will be okay. And I wish I could just reach through the screen and give her a hug. And yeah, like going blind comes with so many complicated emotions, and I can only imagine when going blind is coupled with medical malpractice, is coupled with an elective procedure. It must just come with a lot of other layers of emotion that I wouldn't have had to deal with. So I wish her luck navigating her healing journey, both emotionally and physically. And I want to be clear that these are not the only cases. I'm reacting to one video of each incident or situation, but all of these are repeated over and over again. Well, yes, majority of people who get filler in the under eye or in the nose will not go blind. The risk is there, and if you're pursuing these cosmetic procedures, you deserve to know that risk, and you should think long and hard about whether that risk does feel worth it. Or if there's other options you can do to achieve that same goal. Okay, the final one we're going to react to today is somebody who apparently went blind from tattooing her eyeballs, or his, I'm not sure, their eyeballs. This is something that is definitely more of like an alternative aesthetic choice, where you'll get the whites of your eyeball tattooed black or pink or purple or blue or whatever color suits your fancy. So it's definitely like a very alternative body modification choice, but nonetheless, it carries risks that I think a lot of people, again, aren't familiar with when they choose to pursue this, and they should be. So let's watch and hear what happened.
So this is Australian model Amber Luke, and she spent over 200,000 euros on her body modifications, and she has over 98% of her body tattooed. And with all of those tattoos and all of those modifications, Amber said that the experience of getting her eyeballs tattooed was the most brutal experience she's ever had.
I can't even imagine.
In 2017, Amber was just 22 years old when she went to get her eyeballs tattooed.
Oh, wow. They're showing a photo of her before tattoos, and she looks so different. She looks like such a sweet girl, and then with the tattoos, it's like very goth, and you know,
yeah,
it's crazy.
edgy.
And like she's like a full adult before
she started.
Yeah, so she looks like a different person, but it's like weird.
She said that the torturous procedure had her enduring 4 syringe injections into each of her eyeballs.
Absolutely not.
Once the eyeball was
Absolutely not.
penetrated with the ink, it felt like he grabbed 10 shards of glass and rubbed it in my eye.
Whoa.
That happened 4 times per eye. That was pretty
Pause.
So
listen, I've had painful eye procedures. Just, you know, because of what I got going on. Oh God, I can't imagine like getting a procedure by choice and being in that much pain. Like, I mean, obviously to get any kind of cosmetic procedure that carries pain and expense, like you've got to really freaking want it. And I've just never wanted to change anything about myself enough to think any of the risks, pain, or expense are worth it. That's just me personally. Obviously, these people all did, and that's why they pursued it. But oh my God, I would avoid eye pain at all costs. Oh my God, 4 syringes in the eye is diabolical. Okay, play.
Clearly something went very, very wrong right from when they started injecting Amber's eyeballs. Because like I said, this isn't supposed to be painful. And we can compare Amber's experience with another tattooed model named O'Reilly, who had this done by Luna Cobra correctly.
It hurt getting them tattooed? Simple answer, no. It was like a 2 out of 10 pain scale, and that's because there's no nerves inside of an eyeball, but most people wouldn't know that because they're not gonna get a needle inside of their eyeball.
I can imagine
I did not know
being in
that.
Amber's shoes getting this done and not knowing what to expect pain-wise from this procedure. And maybe she thought that this type of pain was normal. So that's why she ended up going through this 4 times. But this was definitely not a normal and not a correct experience, as the person who tattooed Amber's eyeballs went too deep. Amber ended up crying blue tears for 2 days straight after the procedure.
That's crazy.
And was left temporarily blind in both of her eyes for 3 weeks. And she said at this time she was completely incapable of being independent in her life. I really can't imagine how scary of an experience.
Just kidding. I was about to say what she just said. It would be so scary to have 3 weeks of being blind in both your eyes and not knowing what's going to happen. Like being in that limbo. I'm fortunate in that I was diagnosed with my disease young. It's the only life I've pretty much ever known. And my progression was slow. I have many friends who did go blind instantly due to mostly accidents. And I really, truly, I have so much empathy for people whose blindness is much more sudden than my own, because having progressive blindness was incredibly painful, and consistently having to adapt and change and have new expectations of what I could and couldn't see, and constantly trying to explain to people like, yes, I used to be able to see that, but now I can't. And then 1 year later, that's changed again. Like that carried its own unique hardship. And I am sure going blind instantly has entirely other unique hardships to my experience, but that must be so scary going into this not realizing that that was a potential
experience that would be, especially for something that you elected to have done after, I'm assuming she knew the risks. But luckily Amber did fully recover and the blindness was only temporary. Amber said that she has no regrets that she got this done, but she just urges people to do their research when getting tattoos and body modifications so that they can do so safely.
I don't have any sort of regrets. I wanted everything at the time. All I say to you is just do your research.
But unfortunately, not everyone is as lucky as Amber to have regained their sight. The next person we're talking about is Anaya Peterson. Anaya was actually inspired by Amber's blue eyeballs to go forward and get her own done. Anaya,
wow, imagine,
33 years
pause,
old.
Imagine hearing that story of excruciating pain, crying blue tears for 2 days and having 3 weeks of total blindness in both eyes, and then being like, I'm inspired. I want to do that too. Wouldn't be me. Okay,
Is
play.
from Northern Ireland. And she got her first tattoo when she was 22 years old. And she said that when she started, she couldn't stop. Anaya tattooed her right eye blue in July of 2020. And she had no serious complications, just some dryness and some headaches. So in December of that same year, she opted to tattoo her left eye purple. In an interview with Kennedy News, Anaya said, Quote, I was just going to get one eye tattoo at first because I thought that if I go blind, at least I've got the other eye. And actually, Anaya's daughter, who was just 5 years old at the time,
one way to look at it.
didn't want her mom to get eyeball tattoos at all and said, quote, Mommy, you will go blind. Unfortunately, Anaya didn't listen to her daughter, and in August of 2021, things took a turn for the worse.
Pause.
One morning.
Kids are intuitive, okay? Listen to kids. The idea of being like, oh, if I only go blind in one eye, it's fine. Because again, even though I'm saying like, yes, with one eye you can still drive and live like a pretty normal life, it's still its own trauma. It's like that woman with the injections, she's still having to go to a center for the blind to relearn how to drive. Like, it's not like, it's just like life carries on as normal. There's still a big adjustment period and a grief, and like, you see yourself totally differently now. Like, it's very casual to be like, if I only go blind in one eye, it's fine. Okay, play.
Anaya woke up with incredibly swollen eyelids, so she decided to check herself into the hospital. And there, the doctors diagnosed her with tattoo sarcoidosis, which is an autoimmune disease. And this condition can actually happen in any tattooed area. It's not exclusive to the eyeballs. And in Anaya's case, she actually was experiencing inflammation of parts of her body that were tattooed prior to getting her eyeballs done. So the thought is that once she got her eyeballs tattooed, her disease made it a lot worse and thus affected her vision. After a week in the hospital, Anaya was recovering, but she's been left with serious damage to her eyesight. Anaya said, quote, I'm kind of recovered on the outside. It's recovered. It's just inside. I'm basically on the verge of going blind. Anaya now has to take steroid drops 2 to 3 times per day to fight inflammation. And she's also at risk of cataracts and glaucoma. And although she found the experience traumatizing at the time, she doesn't regret the experience in general. She just regrets not tattooing just one eye. Anaya says that if she could go back in time, she would just get this done with one eye, and she would choose the color black instead of purple or blue. Anaya, unfortunately, is left with permanent vision issues. And she explains in this TikTok what she can and can't see.
But let me just show you what I see. Like, as you can see here, it's like a smudge in the vision. So this is what I see. I see like smudges everywhere. And I'm going to show you the next things that I see along with the smudge. So can you see the black spots? These are called eye floaters. So this is something that's also in my vision. But yeah, at the moment, it is having an impact on my daily life. Hence why I have a lot of professionals who support me. Yeah, whether or not this will go away entirely, we really don't know.
Okay. So I am going to link the full video of all 3 of these videos I've reacted to in the description box below, as well as some other videos on the topic in case you want to dive even deeper into any of these 3 elective procedures that can cause blindness as a side effect. All in all, my heart goes out to every single person who has had that experience, and truly what I have to say to anybody who's watching this and has been considering any of these procedures is please consider a little harder. Think of other options and alternatives that will scratch that itch for you that may not carry such significant life-altering risks. But as always, if you have found yourself in a position where you're living with vision loss and you've got no other option, welcome to the family. Hit subscribe and the notification bell to be let know.
Notified.
To be let know when my next video is out. And until next time, you can click over here to hear me react to some ableist comments, or over here to hear me talk about ableism meets pop culture. Bye.